The sun was setting over the Arizona mountains, casting warm hues of orange and purple across the sky. Jack Reynolds, a 37-year-old veteran, walked slowly toward the town's small animal shelter. His worn boots struck the pavement with a heavy rhythm, echoing the weight of each step he had taken through life. Since leaving the army 2 years ago, Jack had struggled to find something, anything, to fill the void. But nothing helped. No job, no therapy, no routine could reach the hollow space left behind. There was only one soul who had ever come close: Rex. His loyal German shepherd, his war dog, his partner. After Rex was injured, the military retired him, and they were separated. Now the shelter stood quietly in front of him, modest, fenced in, and smelling of disinfectant. Barking echoed from every corner, but none of it reached Jack. He was here because of his sister Emily, who insisted that maybe another dog could help. As Jack walked down the narrow aisles, cages lined each side. Some dogs barked eagerly, tails wagging with hopeful desperation. Others just stared, silent, defeated. Jack's eyes scanned each one, but none had that spark. The one Rex had. He turned to leave, heart sinking. Then a voice called out behind him. "Mr. Reynolds, we have a German shepherd in the back. He came in a few weeks ago, but he's a little different." Jack froze. A German shepherd? He followed the young staff member through a hallway and into a quieter section of the shelter. There, in a cage tucked away from the rest, lay a large dog, black and tan, muscular but still, silent. The dog's posture was rigid, his body tense, but his eyes held exhaustion. Jack's heart skipped. "Rex," he whispered. The German shepherd raised his head. Their eyes met, but there was no recognition, no tail wag, no movement, just emptiness. Jack took a step back, his voice cracking. "He doesn't recognize me." Something inside him twisted sharply. The shelter worker, speaking softly, said, "He's been through a lot. We got him from another shelter in a different state. He's anxious, doesn't trust easily." Jack barely nodded, still staring at the dog he once knew better than himself. "He was my partner," Jack murmured. "My best friend." Memories flooded his mind. Grueling training days, missions under fire. Long nights where Rex had been the only thing keeping him grounded. And now, nothing. The staff member quietly unlocked the cage. Rex didn't move. Jack knelt, lowering his hand gently. "Hey, buddy, it's me, Jack." His voice trembled. Rex tilted his head slightly, but didn't come closer. His muscles were coiled tight, his eyes blank. Jack swallowed a lump in his throat. "This won't be easy," he whispered. "Would you like to spend some time with him?" the staff member asked. Jack nodded. No hesitation. Out in the play yard, Rex stayed distant. He sniffed the breeze, but didn't approach. Jack watched carefully, unsure what to do. Unsure what Rex remembered, if anything. But as the sun slipped below the mountains, Jack made a choice. "I'm taking him home," he said firmly. "No matter how long it takes, I'll bring him back." The car ride was quiet. Rex lay in the back, wrapped in a blanket. He didn't look at Jack, not once, just stared out the window. Jack glanced in the rearview mirror, trying not to feel the sting of rejection, but he understood. Trauma, like his own, ran deep. And Rex carried his own ghosts. At the house, Jack parked near the front door. The property was modest, on the outskirts of town. He opened the door slowly. "Welcome to your new home, boy," he said gently. Rex entered cautiously, every movement measured. He sniffed the air, stopped in the entryway, then stood completely still, waiting for the unexpected. Jack had prepared a corner of the living room with a dog bed, fresh bowls, and new toys. He pointed to it with a soft smile. "This is your spot." But Rex stayed where he was, unmoving. Jack sighed, the first crack of frustration pushing through. He missed the dog who used to run toward him, tail wagging, eyes full of devotion. But this Rex was different. Wounded, distant. Jack understood. That night, he left the bedroom door open. Maybe, just maybe, Rex would feel safe enough to come closer. He turned out the light. Minutes passed. Then, the soft sound of paws on the floor. Rex didn't enter the room, but he lay down just outside the door. Jack smiled in the dark. It was a start. The next morning, Rex was sitting near the bedroom door, ears up, watching silently. Jack stretched and forced a smile. "Good morning, Rex." Rex looked away. Jack spent the day trying to connect, offering toys, food, even throwing a tennis ball. Nothing worked. Rex only ate after Jack left the room. He avoided eye contact. He kept his distance. But Jack didn't stop. That afternoon, Jack had an idea. From the back of the closet, he pulled out something old. His worn military vest. The same one he wore during their missions. The scent of sand, sweat, and war clung to it. "Let's see if this sparks anything," he thought. He brought the vest outside to where Rex lay. The German shepherd's head turned. He sniffed, tilted his head. Jack dropped the vest on the ground and stepped back. Rex approached slowly, sniffed the fabric. For a moment, something flickered in his eyes. But then, he retreated, tail low, guard up. Jack sighed, hope slipping again. But deep down, he still believed. The real Rex was in there, somewhere, waiting to come back. That night, Jack sat quietly on the porch, watching Rex lying in the backyard, his eyes fixed on the stars above. "I'm not giving up on you," Jack said softly, his voice nearly lost in the breeze. "You never gave up on me when I needed you the most. And I won't give up now." The air grew colder. Jack stood, left the back door open, and went to bed. Hours later, a faint sound woke him, paws on the floor. At the foot of the bed, Rex had curled up. He wasn't completely relaxed, but he was there. Jack didn't speak. He just smiled in the dark. The wall between them was beginning to crack. The next day, moments of quiet connection started to appear. As Jack chopped wood in the yard, Rex watched him from a distance. His ears perked slightly, his head tilted, not fear, but curiosity. Jack wiped the sweat from his forehead and spoke gently. "Want to help, boy?" Rex didn't move, but he didn't turn away either. Later that day, Jack casually tossed a stick across the yard, not expecting a thing. But to his surprise, Rex took a few slow steps toward it. He stopped, looked at Jack, then turned back. Jack grinned. "Oh, you remember how to play. You're just pretending not to." It was small, but it meant something. The next morning, Jack took out Rex's old ID tag and attached it to a clean new collar. "Let's go for a walk." Rex hesitated at the door, eyes scanning the world beyond the fence like it was a battlefield. But with a calm voice and a gentle tug, Jack coaxed him forward. They walked slowly. Rex's body stayed stiff, his head constantly turning, ears flicking at every sound. Jack spoke softly as they moved. "You don't have to be on guard, boy. We're safe here." The words might not mean anything yet, but the tone. Jack hoped the tone would settle into Rex's mind over time. On the way back, something unexpected happened. As Jack removed the leash, Rex stepped forward and sniffed his hand. Jack stood still. "That's it. That's it." Rex. It only lasted a second, but it felt like hours. That evening, as Jack prepared dinner, Rex lay quietly near the kitchen rug. He wasn't seeking affection, but he wasn't hiding either. Jack looked down and whispered, "I think we're becoming friends again." Rex didn't respond, but his eyes, they were softer now. The next morning, the sun had barely risen when Jack heard movement in the living room. Rex was sitting at the window, staring out at the mist-covered yard. Jack approached slowly. "Remembering something, boy?" He didn't expect an answer. After breakfast, Jack retrieved something special. A wooden box from the back of the closet. Inside were old military items, medals, letters, and one small, chewed-up rubber ball. Rex's favorite. Jack stared at it for a long time before stepping outside. He gently tossed the ball near Rex. The dog's body tensed immediately. He sniffed the air. The scent was familiar. For a moment, he froze. Then, he stepped forward, sniffed the ball, pulled back again. Jack didn't push. He just watched. "You remember this, don't you?" he asked quietly. That afternoon, Rex stayed closer. He followed Jack from room to room, always keeping a few feet of space, but not hiding anymore. And for the first time, he ate straight from Jack's hand. Slowly, carefully, but he didn't look away. Jack nearly cried, but he held himself together. Didn't speak, just let it happen. Later that evening, Jack sat on the porch again, rolling the rubber ball between his fingers. "Remember that night you brought me this thing in the middle of the night? You couldn't sleep, and you insisted we play." He chuckled. "You were so stubborn. Still are." He tossed the ball gently across the yard. Rex's ears perked up. He tracked the ball's flight. But he didn't move. Still, the interest was back. That night, Rex lay again at the foot of Jack's bed. Not just there. Jack felt something shift. They were no longer two beings trapped in their own pain. They were starting to carry it together. Before switching off the light, Jack whispered into the quiet, "We're almost there, partner. Almost." The sun rose bright the next morning, casting a golden hue over the backyard. Jack stood on the porch, a cup of coffee in hand, watching Rex walk slowly through the wet grass. There was something different in the way the dog moved. Less guarded. More grounded. Jack took a breath. "Let's try something new." He pulled a rope from the shed and slung his old whistle around his neck, just like they used to do during field training. Maybe muscle memory would reach where words could not. In the center of the yard, Jack stood tall and gave a short whistle. "Sit." Rex stood still, watching. Then, after a moment, he sat. Jack blinked. "Good boy," he whispered, barely believing it. He picked up the rubber ball and tossed it lightly a few feet away. "Fetch!" Rex eyed the ball. His body tensed. His eyes flicked to Jack, then back to the ball. He hesitated. Then he moved. Step by step, Rex approached, sniffed, then gently picked up the ball with his mouth. Jack's heart skipped. Rex turned, walked back, and dropped the ball at Jack's feet. Their eyes met, and for the first time in weeks, Jack saw it. Recognition. Not just a spark of memory, but knowing he was no longer a stranger. Jack knelt slowly, careful not to overwhelm the moment. "You did it," he whispered. "You really did it." Rex wagged his tail, just once, but it was the most beautiful movement Jack had seen in years. From that moment on, something changed. Throughout the day, Rex followed Jack more closely. When Jack sat down, Rex lay at his feet, not distant, not cautious, present, open. That evening, Jack found an old photograph tucked in a drawer, him and Rex, both covered in dust, smiling after completing a brutal mission. Jack held it for a while, then placed it beside his bed. "Look at this, boy," he said, holding it up. "We made one hell of a team." Rex stared at the photo for a moment, then lay beside Jack's bed, closer than ever before. As rain clouds rolled in, thunder echoed through the night sky. Jack stepped out onto the porch, coffee in hand. The wind carried the scent of the coming storm. Rex stood nearby, nose lifted toward the sky. He didn't flinch at the thunder, just watched, calm, focused. "You've always loved storms," Jack said softly. "Remember?" Rex turned his head, their eyes meeting in the pale glow of lightning. There was something there. Not fear, not confusion, curiosity. Jack reached into a drawer near the door. Rex's ears shot up. He turned sharply toward Jack, alert. Jack's heart pounded, but Rex only took one step forward, then paused. The spark faded again. Uncertainty returned. He looked down. Jack lowered the whistle and stepped back. "It's okay," he said gently. "We'll go at your pace." That night, as the rain fell in sheets, Jack placed a fresh blanket and water bowl nearby, but didn't speak, didn't approach. He simply sat on the floor across the room, letting Rex come to him if he chose. And he did. Slowly, with careful steps, Rex approached. He paused just inches away from Jack, sniffed the air, and gently touched Jack's hand with his nose. It was soft, brief, but it meant everything. Jack's chest tightened with emotion. "You're coming back to me, partner." He didn't move, didn't pet him, just sat still, letting Rex decide what came next. The dog pulled away, lay down near the door. But something had shifted. That night, Rex didn't sleep. He curled up at the foot of the bed again, closer. And for the first time, Jack slept soundly. The next morning, the air was still, the sky clear after the night storm. Birds sang outside, but inside the house, something far more significant was unfolding. Rex stood in the middle of the room, alert and calm, eyes locked on Jack, who held a leash in one hand and a military vest in the other. "Today's the big day, buddy," Jack said with a hopeful smile. He had decided to take Rex to their old training ground, a quiet park not far from town. It used to be their favorite spot during downtime between missions. A final test, a new beginning. On the way there, Rex sat in the back seat with his head out the window, ears perked, tongue catching the breeze. Jack watched through the mirror, heart swelling with pride. Weeks of patience had brought them here. "Just like the old times, huh?" Jack said, not expecting an answer. But Rex looked at him, and that was... At the park, Jack unhooked the leash. For a second, Rex stood still, scanning the open field. Jack reached for the rubber ball and tossed it gently. No command, no expectations, just trust. Rex bolted. No hesitation, no fear. He sprinted across the grass, snatched the ball, and ran back, tail wagging with a joy Jack hadn't seen since the war. They played for hours. It was as if time, trauma, and silence had never existed. Jack laughed freely. Rex barked once, loud, playful, alive. The bond was back. Changed, yes, but strong, deeper, earned. That afternoon, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky gold, Jack sat on a wooden bench. Rex lay beside him, his head resting on Jack's lap, eyes closed. Jack looked out at the horizon and whispered, "I told you I wouldn't give up, Rex." His fingers brushed the dog's fur. "You brought me back once. Now it was my turn." For the first time in years, Jack felt whole. Not because the pain had disappeared, but because he didn't have to carry it alone anymore. Rex wasn't just a dog. He was memory, loyalty, survival, love. As they headed home, Rex curled up in the back seat, peaceful, no longer a shadow of who he was, but something new. And Jack knew no matter what the future held, they would face it together, side by side, complete again. Because sometimes the ones who save us wear fur, walk on four legs, and never say a word. And that is more than enough.